What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. We got a great show for you today. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday with us today. We got some possible offensive coordinator options for the Steelers if they decide to fire Matt Canada. One of them would be having a reunion with somebody on the Steelers, so stay tuned for that. Dan Moore Jr., is he improving, or should the Steelers consider drafting a left tackle in next year's NFL draft? And then Kenny Pickett, he is impressing, and I'm going to be breaking down his numbers from last week's game against the Colts. But first, we have a huge Najee Harris injury update here. It was reported today that Najee Harris is going to be fine, guys. He really gave us a scare this week. On Monday Night Football, he had that abdominal injury, which usually takes guys out for like at least 3 weeks. But we learned today that it's not that serious. It's a minor injury, and it looks like he's going to be able to get back on the field here within the next week. If he doesn't play this week, it'll probably be next week. He is questionable to play this week. Didn't practice today, but the good news coming out of Pittsburgh is that this is not a serious injury. And, at the end of the day, getting someone like Najee Harris back is huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's very explosive, very dynamic. He's starting to really adopt this tough mentality, where he's lowering his shoulder. He's embracing the power run scheme that Matt Canada is deploying, and it seems to be a really good fit for him. He's a big guy. He's tough to tackle, and, at the end of the day, having him back in the lineup sooner rather than later is fantastic. And then it was also reported, and more good news today, that Jaylen Warren, he's been dealing with that hamstring injury. He's fully ready to go. He's been cleared by the doctors. It looks like he's going to be ready to play this week. If Harris can't go, he'll be running back one. But if Harris plays, he will assume his normal role as running back two. So that's great news. And then as for Benny Snell, who had a fantastic game last week, it's looking like he's not going to get a whole bunch of work if Harris ends up playing, because you got your top two running backs back in the lineup. So if Harris plays, don't expect to see Benny Snell a whole lot. But if Harris is out, Benny Snell should get a pretty decent workload as the running back too. All right, now I got a question for you guys. Was Najee Harris worth a first-round pick in your mind? Be honest here. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever there's an ad break, just go down in the comments section and type Y for yes or type N for no. For me, he's not worth a first-round pick. With his production, I think if you're going to draft a running back in the first round, he has to be all-pro level special, because you can get really good running backs in the 4th, 5th round. You can find those gems. But so if you're going to draft a running back in the first round, he's got to be special. Najee Harris has been good. He's a good talent. He's not special, though, so I'm going to say no for this question. All right, now let's get into Bleacher Report, where they had an article this week that broke down 3 potential replacements for Matt Canada if Matt Canada is fired this year. And here are the 3 names that they brought up. They brought up Mark Whipple, the offensive coordinator from the Nebraska Cornhuskers. With Matt Rule coming in, it looks like he's going to be available. And then you got Matt Nagy, the Chiefs. I believe he's the QB coach right now in Kansas City. And then Joe Brady, the Bills QB coach. Some pretty big names here. Matt Nagy, obviously a former head coach in this league. Joe Brady, former offensive coordinator. And at the end of the day, guys, we've already done this video before, right? We've been breaking down our list for a while. It's time to break down somebody else's list. But this is what we do here on the channel. Steelers, news, and rumors. We break it down for you. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now if you haven't already. Remember, we are in a sub battle with Falcons today by Chat Sports this week. So if you want to help us win that sub battle and assert our dominance over the Atlanta Falcons fan base, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. All right, now let's get into kind of my thoughts on these 3 guys. Let's start with Mark Whipple. Now, the reasoning behind going and getting Mark Whipple as the next offensive coordinator is that he knows Kenny Pickett. He was the offensive coordinator for the Pitt Panthers when Kenny Pickett had his stellar senior season. So he knows Kenny's strengths, all these other things, but I don't love the idea of getting Whipple, all right? I think that offensive success came down to the offensive line. Jordan Addison is obviously fantastic. This year at Nebraska, the offense was 101st in the country and that's just not very good. I don't think Mark Whipple is really a great offensive mind. I think, he kind of reminds me of Matt Canada, to be honest with you. I just kind of get Matt Canada vibes from this guy, so I just don't really want to go into the college realm. I want somebody that knows the pro game and knows how to design a pro offense. As for as for Joe Brady here, I don't think it's a fantastic fit. Big name, that LSU Tigers offense. He was the coordinator on the greatest college offense in the history of the game. But was that Joe Brady or was that Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase? I mean, the list goes on with that offense. I think most offensive coordinators could find success with those guys. But at the end of the day, he's in Buffalo. We know that they don't design a run game very well. And the Steelers, I think with Kenny Pickett as their next quarterback, they need to have a solid run game. And I'm not sure if Joe Brady's the type of guy that can formulate this kind of special run game that I think the Steelers are going to have to develop here over the next couple years. So I don't think he's a great fit for the Steelers personally. Then you got Matt Nagy, and I think if they bring him in, Mitchell Trubisky's going to ask to get released, man. I mean, Jesus, he's probably got some nightmares about this guy. I mean, Bears fans, if there's any Bears fans that are for some reason watching this video, I don't have to tell you. This guy was just a complete disaster last year in Chicago. I don't want to bring him in personally. I think there's kind of a fallacy out there that if you're in Andy Reid's system, and you're kind of around that tree, then you're automatically a brilliant offensive mind. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I think Nagy is maybe a mid-tier offensive mind in the National Football League now, so I don't really want to see him as the next Steelers offensive coordinator either. So Bleacher Report, I'm sorry, man. I don't like any of your picks. That's just the way it is. All right, where do you guys stand on Matt Canada? Type F for fire or type K for keep? He's actually been doing some good things lately, guys. The last 3 weeks, the Steelers' offense has improved quite a bit. So if he keeps this going, I mean, who knows? He could be back next year. Personally, I would fire him right now, though. That is my take. If the season ended today, I'd be typing F for fire. All right, guys, let's get into a word from our sponsor today at BetUS, and these guys are offering you guys a 125% deposit bonus on deposits of $100 to $600. All right, you got to use promo code Steelers125, but essentially if you put in $100 or to $600, BetUS is going to give you 125% of that money back to you to use on your bets. Right now, it's a fantastic time to bet on the Steelers game against Atlanta, bet for Kenny Pickett for Rookie of the Year, whatever you guys want. All right, it's a fantastic deal. If you love sports betting, you got to take advantage of this, guys. So you got to go chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to get that 125% deposit bonus. All right, now let's get into Dan Moore Jr. a little bit here. The left tackle has been getting some flack this season. It is his second season out of Texas A&M. There have been several mocks with the Steelers taking a tackle, including my first mock where I had the Steelers taking Skoronski out of Northwestern, and then the question is Dan Moore the left tackle past this season? And to me, I'm not sure if he's going to be, guys. Like I'm seeing some improvement here. The 2 out of the last 3 weeks, the Saints game was good. The Colts game, and especially in the second half, he looked pretty darn good. He is improving, guys. So let's just take a look at his PFF grades right now. Pro Football Focus. They are not too special right now, guys, plain and simply, especially for a left tackle. When we all know how important left tackle is for pass protection. He's 57th overall, and then he's 48th in pass blocking, and then run blocking. He's been a train wreck this year, plain and simply. But I am seeing improvement, guys. The last 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's been really good, but it's not been consistent whatsoever. I mean, his grades are that low for a reason. He's a ton of holding penalties this season. He's not somebody that I think it can really hold his own against those elite edge rushers in the National Football League. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Dan Moore Jr. Should stay as the Steelers left tackle next season, or do you think they should draft somebody new next year in the 2023 NFL Draft? Type DM in all caps if you think Dan Moore is a bit underrated, and then type draft if you think the Steelers need to prioritize left tackle in next year's draft. All right, and finally, let's go over Kenny Pickett, who has been impressing me as of late, guys. You guys know that I've been critical of Kenny Pickett at times this season, but over the last couple games, I'm somebody that looks at the film, and I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is, Kenny Pickett has been impressive the last couple of weeks. Against the Colts, 88.5 PFF grade. That is really, really something special there by Kenny Pickett to do as a rookie against a good defense. It was the second best by a QB in Week 12, so he was one of the best performing and grading quarterbacks in the National Football League last week. And then it was the best by a rookie so far this season. Now, that's not much competition. You know, you got Malik Willis and, you know, some other guys, Bailey Zappi to deal with, you know, so that might not be as impressive there. But then it's the best by a Pittsburgh QB, including Ben Roethlisberger since 2018. So really great performance by Kenny Pickett. It was definitely his best game of the season so far. There were some missed throws, but he's a rookie, guys. He's still learning. He's still growing. And at the end of the day, he showed some really great poise in the pocket. He was delivering passes. He was getting the ball out of his hand. I am very excited about the growth that I've seen from him this season, and he's shown that he can potentially be that distributor-type quarterback for the Steelers moving forward. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you, Steeler Nation. Where are my real ones at? If you are a real Yinzer and made it to the end of today's video, type "Here we go" in all caps to let me know you were here. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's show. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.